So, good evening and good morning. Welcome to the Circle of Harmony, where the topic is a continuation of what we started last week, self worth. But basically, what I had wanted to explore this time was that, am I grounded in myself? Because when I look at me, myself, I see that a lot moves me still. A lot of things, which have no value, which have no truth in them, which have no necessity in them, no power in them, just by the way I pick things up, have the power to move me. And that bothers, right? Like, why am I not more stable? Why does things affect me so much? So just So the exploration we started last week, and we'll take this forward. So invoking Mother and Sri Aurobindo's presence and grace as we begin today's exploration. Yeah. So before we begin, if there is anything from last week, any thought that came to us, any reflection, any aha moment that, oh, I saw this, or, a girl can hope. So if there's any sharing, we can unmute and
So after last week's session, so through the week, I was trying to observe how many times external situations or circumstances is questioning my self-worth. So at least I could try and see how many times that is happening, that I'm tying my self-worth to an external uh, circumstance or a person's reaction. So it was quite surprising. It was a number of times. It wasn't once or twice. It was a whole list of things that were there. And before, it was just taken for granted. It was just like, these things are there and my self-worth is getting affected. But now I'm able to observe that this is what it is. And how the next step would be to sort of detach and see how I can change this line of thinking itself. So yeah, that was the exercise that I did last.
yeah, thank you, Meera. Yeah, Jagan, I spy you, so you don't have to hide anymore. Yeah.
I couldn't hear the voice for the first two times. I had to disconnect again.
Okay. I thought you're playing hide and seek. So that's good to know there was an actual issue. Okay. Meera, what you shared is really, when we start seeing these things, they're very revelatory because, they are so obvious once you see them. And it's shocking that these things hide from our view, right? Like they are right in front of us. And yet, if somebody tells us that this is what we do, I would be like, I probably don't do that. Something like this. So it's very enlightening, I would have to say, when I realize the blindness with which I am seeing something. And suddenly, when the veil drops, and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, and the thing is that, right now you're seeing them in episodes, right? Something said this, somebody said that. And very soon, for me, I realized that my whole life, if I look at it, is based on me and my self image, either in my eyes, which is good because at least there is some accountability, I can do it, or in the eyes of others. When I was little, I don't know what age, I had this, I don't know, maybe I heard it in a movie or something. I used to say this dialogue, कि अगर I would want to live life on my terms, जिससे अगर जैसे people would say कि गलती करोगे, right? You'll make a mistake, you'll fall, whatever. So I would say कि at least I would want to have this assertion कि हाँ मेरी choice थी, उससे मैं गिरी. there was something about this कि मैं गिरूं भी तो दूसरे की उस पे क्यों गिरूं, राय पे अपने पे गिरूं टाइप्स. तो and then whole life is about me, my self-image, me, my self-image. And if my self-image is outside, कि मेरे को, how am I looking to others? That is a very scary place to be, right? And that is where we all are in that market the whole day, the whole life, that how are others perceiving me?
One more thing, as you were speaking, like also in this during the last week, what I realized was that what actually that I was trying to preserve was actually an image, and I feel now that I'll be so much relieved if it actually does get shattered. Whatever I was trying to preserve, it's actually gone. After that, probably to myself, I would feel like there was really nothing to preserve, because beyond that, there is so much more. As Jagan also shared last time, I think it was in Harmony Circle, the many selves. So there's something that we're trying to preserve as like so precious, but it really, if we see through it, it is nothing. Which obviously, it was really interesting. As you were speaking, I was able to recollect that.
Mm. If I look at, say, my life, when we look at our lives, they seem important, right? Like for me, obviously, my life is important. And if I look at what I'm doing, that I have an image of me, I have an image of others, I want to preserve my image, which I think should be a good one. I keep pointing or throwing rocks at the others when they stare from their images or what they are perceiving or saying they are. What a wasted life, right? Like just lost in images. And then no matter when, say, in Buddhism, I read that there is nothing called true nature, right? Everything is illusionary. A lot of times, it has hit me a couple of times. Say, if in a relationship, for example, friendship, simple and all, when one person has a different view of things, the other person has a different view, for example, in any relation, when you are actually confronting about differences and everything, you realize that people are at absolutely separate places. And for years and years and years. This is how I take this thing. I don't know if I'm able to put it, but I mean, again and again, it has been shown to me that there is nothing called reality. Two people in one relationship 10 years down the lane, if they are sharing what happened, what was it, what worked, what didn't, it's like, are we talking about the same relationship? So that just makes me feel that there is, like, I'm just repeating myself, that there's nothing called truth of anything. I create my own truth depending on what I'm absorbing, what I'm open to, what I am, watchful for. So it's very mind boggling. And it's like, you can then keep these things down when you see that there is nothing in them as such. So it's very interesting. Yeah. So I had wanted to do a small exercise today, and it's good we're a small group. But Jagan, did you want to share something? I felt you're about to unmute, so feel free to do that.
Yeah, in the beginning, you were talking about how you're talking about how um, it's all the images, right? How I'm being perceived by others, how others look at me. That really, um, that's a very important point that I've heard so many times. I've tried to apply it also. Um, I will just story. I have my I have a cousin. I have a million cousins, so this is one of them. So he and I, we were friends for since childhood. Somehow down the line, he had a lot of hatred towards me, and the thing is, no matter how much I would invest myself in that relationship to kind of, become, we sat together once, we tried to talk things through, but at that point he's fine, but then again he reverts to his, uh, and he's like hates as in like really, really hate. Like he would create some uh, things about me, and I would always feel, at one point of time that why is he hating on me? Because I'm trying my best to keep that relationship afloat, and I'm trying to do it. And the thing is, I couldn't accept perceived like that. Like, being hated. Like, why am I being hated? What did I do wrong? So, even I said something. If in childhood, if I did something wrong, I apologize for that. I did, consider everything that's done. But still, and at one point, I think 2 years, it's years, and I just said to myself that let him do whatever. You know, why should I, why should I worry about this? Like, why should I invest my time into this thought? I said, let him be the way he is. I will want to love. I love him, and I still sort of affection for him, but I don't care right now about how he takes me. But that is only one person. That being said, this day, I think that okay, others should think nice about me somehow. And if they don't, then I, you know, go back into this cocoon that I've made for myself and start thinking, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And I think it's such a waste. I'm saying it out. It's such a waste of time, and yeah, like, this has to stop eventually. This has to stop because if I know that what I'm saying is coming out of my heart and it's true to me, then like, why should I think so much about? Yeah, I don't know. It's just a waste of time, I think.
Kabir ji, he has a lot of dohas in which he talks about vigilance, right? Mother, Sri Aurobindo, Buddha, masters and mystics, they talk about alertness, awareness, right? We have all heard of that. And yet, when we look at this, it's really hilarious that vigilant we are, aware we are, but for what? It's not that we are not, right? Like who's thinking about me, what body language is they displaying, how did they react to me, what way did they look at me, why did they look at me like this, who do they think they are, why is there a frown on their face, right? So it's not that I don't have that faculty, but I'm using it in places where it's not adding any value, rather, it's taking me down, it's beating me up. Do I see that is the question? It's almost as if I'm sitting with binoculars and a writing pad कि अच्छा इसने मेरे साथ आज ये करा उसने मेरे साथ ये करा and I'm ready to lash out. Why are you always so frowny? Why do you have this attitude? मतलब as if कि मेरे अंदर अपना कुछ है ही नहीं, बस बाहर का ही मुझे पूरा my job in this life is to just take an account of who's mean, who's selfish, who's notorious, who's obnoxious, who's nice. So it sounds funny or it's sounding small, but it's really pretty surprising if I truly accept what I'm doing. And I think it's good if we are able to even touch that space that, yes, I allow that to happen so that I can maybe move a little bit beyond these ups and downs and तूने मुझे ये बोला मैंने तुझे ये बोला and just this boxing we do in our life which is doesn't get us into any wrestling matches so that we can earn, but it just very, very strange. It's like that I am looking in somebody's eyes to see who I am, right? Like I don't have anything in me. There is no solidarity. And while I was saying this, I remember I had read a book, something on Mahavir. And it was like that, when he decided to go nude, he had taken off his clothes, right? Then people used to think he's mad, right? And that's, if you can imagine that, like on streets in India, somebody is walking nude, people will think he has lost his mental balance. And they would throw stones at him, they would hit him, they would try to hurt him so that he is not there in front of them or something. And he took everything with a smile because he felt that he's clearing his karmic accounts, for example. Like for him, it was like that, yes, I don't want to own anything, including clothes. And he was able to take beating, trashing stones with a smile. So if we look at this, the Christ walked till the, cross with a smile. He said, yes, yes, do what you have to, for example, right? But I'm not a Christ, I'm not a Mahavir. If somebody says what's wrong with you, my next thought is, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Right? If somebody says you're weird, I'm like, yeah, I am weird. Why am I weird? Like, why would he say that? For example. So this shows, right, that again I'm coming to this word solidarity. Like I am not with myself. If somebody throws it out, I'm very ready to catch it. It's like I'm waiting कि हाँ हाँ बताओ मेरे में क्या problem है, so that I can, kind of be sad about it, complain about it, gossip about you, that this is what you said about me. So where is progress happening here? I don't see any, right? Yeah. Yes, Nehi, would you have the capacity to unmute today? Anything you would want to share on this?
Um, yeah, I mean, I recently read this quote by Krishnamurti. I think that said that um, when you are in a relationship with someone, you are in a relationship with the idea of that person as opposed to that person, right? So, two people in a relationship with each other's ideas. So, I mean, what Meera shared about, I mean, we spoke about this, right? Like images and ideas, and um, yeah, I think I've been thinking a lot about self-worth and perceptions and images, right? Because recently, I have been reaching out to my classmates on schoolmates on social media, and there was this thought in my head that if I reach out to them, they will uh, form these judgments about me. I was reaching out to them on LinkedIn actually, and they would see my profile and then form this judgment that, she's, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that she's not, maybe they'll think that, I'm not where I had imagined myself to be, because I had very solid plans, and life did not go according to those plans, right? So then, but then I ended up connecting with them on LinkedIn, and it was okay. And then I was like, why am I holding on to this image, and that I want them to think of me as this, this successful, conventionally successful person, someone who's doing well in life, right? When you look at your schoolmates, your college mates, you tend to look at where they are and how they are doing professionally, right? Where they are working and all of those things. So I think when I let go of that image and that perception, I think it was just so liberating, that I don't have to identify with this limiting image, and it's just so empowering. And I think some of them, I connected with them, it was also so comforting that today, because I've spent time with them in school and know them personally. So if I need any help, they will be there to help me, and I shouldn't hold myself back. So I shouldn't let these images and it was just one recent experience.
One question for
And
me, how
also
long
when we
did it
talk about forming these ideas about people and not, so my question is, then how should we look at people? Like, I understand that if I am the space, if I am a witness, then so is the other person, right? So if nothing is concrete for me, then there's nothing solid or concrete for the other person also. So maybe just looking at people with a sense of openness and not forming solid judgments about them and not boxing them, I think is that how we should perceive the world, or how should we perceive people around us?
Yeah, Snehi, we'll talk about that. Yeah, Jagan, would you want to say what you were saying?
No, I just wanted to ask her, how long did it take for
Mm.
actually that's a very good example, like about colleagues, right? About how they are growing, and if I am to choose a different path and that doesn't end me in a comparable space. Say, since now that you're back, so how long did it take for you to kind of you know comfortable that I am happy at where I am, and to not care about what others perceive of you?
I think it took a long time, and only recently, I think, when I started having these health issues, right? So like sometimes, so physical symptoms, right? Like there's my stomach is aching and chest is hurting, and that these symptoms are coming from that place. And then I was like, I cannot do this. Like I have to let go of these images for my health, right? Because my body is at ease, at peace, when I'm not identified with anything. So let me do this for my body and my health. So it took a very long time. Shouldn't have, but perhaps.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. When I look at myself, when I am with myself, am I just a professional who has achieved this, or I see I'm more than that? So if I look at my grandmother, if I look at my mother, if she's a housemaker, would I say that I haven't done anything in life? Like they haven't done anything in life because they were not the CEO of that or the managing director of that company? Would I say they were nothing? Can we unmute and share that? Would we say that?
No, no.
So when it comes to professional achievements of where a rat is in the race, for example, why do I give it that much importance? Right? It's very strange how I've been told, or it's like I've been programmed that way, as if I don't have any personal discretion or mind or intelligence. I have been programmed this way to just see success of a life based on the role, the title, the salary, the car, the house. And that's pitiable actually, right? If I'm there, it's fine. But if I see that's not the program I want, I can maybe, how they say, reformat my system. It's like a tunnel vision I have, right? Okay, just looking at one aspect and judging success, judging the bigness of someone, the achievement of someone. And these, this materialistic titles, these names, they are so big that, say one person, I don't know, it's like say that book, The Monk Who Sold the Ferrari, or his Ferrari, whatever the title is. Why does it grab our attention? Because for us, a Ferrari is the ultimate. And there is someone who sold his Ferrari and became a monk. How is that possible? But if we are actually honest, if we see these things are not what we think they are, because when we truly interact with people, if we have the grace to touch base with really successful people, they are not happy. So I am doing everything. I want to do this ladder that I want to climb is because I feel it will give me something that I don't have right now. And I feel, because when I'm looking at somebody with this title, this salary, this car, this house, the boat, let's add to it, they own a boat also, or a private jet, I feel that yes, they must be happy, right? And they are not, because if I'm not happy at point A, if I'm not happy, say, living in a city, if I go to Kailash, I will not be happy there too, because I am going to Kailash. I, the one who's unhappy, is going. The circumstances, they don't matter. If I hear someone, oh, he's from Harvard, I'll be like, oh my God, man, he must be, that's just straight away. I don't need to connect with them. And if I hear somebody is just from a community college, or they haven't even done their graduation, I'll be like, probably dull, right? And it has no bearing to the truth. So I have to now that I'm not a child anymore, right? I can think for myself by grace. I can actually use the brain I have for discretion, for seeing. It's like, I have been told how to look at the world while I was growing up. I picked up things here and there. But now, if I'm pausing, I can choose that, okay, is this the way I want to look at the world? And then I can drop things, because for sure it would not be the way I would want to look at the world or judge them the way they are, because people are. I am more than what I am doing professionally. And it means nothing at all, that we have seen again and again. But we always keep, these talks or the spiritual realizations, whatever we have had, on one side, and we feel, but this is real life. How do I look at this? But this is one, right? So till the day we are not able to see them as one, I don't think any real progress can be made. But at least what I like is that, how Sri Aurobindo says that by your whatever faults, or, the world gets perfected, that you're at least exercising, like we were talking about vigilance, right? That yes, I'm vigilant, but what am I vigilant towards? Right now, nothing that matters. But there would be a time when I'll be able to use the same vigilance for things that matter. So that is good news. That is something that keeps me going and shows me that yes, everything has a purpose. And yeah.
When I asked Snehi how she was able to look at it, I just want to see what was her observation. That was shared is very important to me, especially, is how is my body, you know, reacting to the choices that I'm making. And I'm really grateful for what is shared today because as a kid growing up in a free spirit, I could see that even I didn't eat anything healthy, or even I didn't eat much growing up. So I was still healthy. I still had a lot of energy. Say it because I was young. I'm still young. I could even have more energy, but I can see that by the end of the day. And if I really love something, if I'm really resonating with something, then um, that only becomes. I think that just becomes a meditative state somehow. It gives energy by the end of the day if I'm into something that I resonate with. If I am into something that I do not, but I want to do it because I want to be at a stage where others will think, okay, he's somewhere. And now like this does not change in an instance, or maybe it does, but for me, this is a good reminder to look at myself, to look at my health, to look at my stress levels, and if I'm even smiling on a daily basis. So, thank you.
As a child, I was always smiling. I had a very smiling face. And, once my father, I think I was 5 or 6, he told me, and you know how people are of that generation, they are not expressive, right? Like, I don't know, usually in my side, they were not. So once he said that, it's so nice that you're always smiling. And that was a big thing for me because I've never received any compliment from him ever. But I looked at him and I said, Papa, I smile, but I'm not happy. So for a 5-year-old, 6-year-old to just acknowledge that or to see that, right? That yes, I'm always smiling, but I'm not happy. It means something. So all I'm saying is that a lot of times when we say look at these physical cues, we are looking at the outside, right? But we don't know what's going on inside. We don't even know what's going inside in me. So if I don't even know what's going on inside me, how can I judge based on a suit, a car, a house, a title that they are somewhere or they are happy? So I think I owe it to myself to say that, like, when I am not just this, I am so much more. The others are also so much more. Success, failures, they don't are not what the things that are visible, right? They are just things which are beyond these achievements. These are just one thing of this role of this title. So I must make an effort to expand my consciousness that way. And it's sad that, we need these physical cues, these diseases, some issues and all to actually stop. And it's so good that if we are able to stop earlier than later, because when we don't look at these cues, when the body is reacting, and we keep on doing things because we are not able to catch it, then comes the bigger diseases, right? That you have to give them attention. You have to give them attention. It's not letting you be. So being very subtle to these cues, I just told somebody I'll do this. How is my being feeling? Oh, I said yes to that party. How is that being feeling? So that expansion, that contraction, one can be very aware of so that bigger things don't have to come and slap me to wake me. The other day, I don't know in which session we were briefly discussing about Sri Aurobindo, that how when he finally got a bit settled in that solitary cell, he heard a voice which said that we told you, right? Yeah, you were told to pause. You were not listening. Now listen. So that's what a lot of times, I've seen people turn around after big diseases, finding some purpose in life, and the disease totally just vanished. For some, who were receptive, who were open. And it doesn't mean that for the ones who died, who couldn't make it, they were not receptive. We don't know their journeys, but there were some who were very receptive. They started following their path and they are very happy. So again, just vigilance, using it where it would matter. Yeah. There was this, maybe we can watch it right now, a small video I'd seen it last time. I think it would be nice if I can find it. Yeah. So this is a small video where younger Mingyur talks about self-created suffering, that how my suffering is self-created. So it touches on bit on what we are talking about.
And most of suffering in our life, most of the problems is self-created suffering. And this self-created suffering manifests many different ways. Normally, sometimes when I talk to monkey mind, monkey mind love create the problem, make the problem. If there's no problem, and the monkey mind begin to make problem. And this is like almost like you are wearing yellow glass, and when you look through yellow glass, and you see everything's yellow. For example, if you have anger, the anger produce lot of reality, construct reality, although it's not exist. You think he's not good, she's not good, why this reason, why that reason, you're very angry, you say everybody's not nice to you, not smiling to you, and you are thinking they're all making a lot of mistakes and making a lot of problems, So almost one day you see whole world is your enemy. Some like pride, that you think you're best, they're nothing, they're useless, they're just lazy, you think who cares, lot of things. And jealousy also, me and my friend better, bad, everybody doesn't like me, they like more, they like my friend is more than me, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, lot of things. It's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of conflicts between you and your family, your friends, your colleagues, in your company, in your society, everywhere. It's like what we call sometimes holding hammer in your hand and beating on your head. Oh, where's it come from? Who's that? Who did it? Actually, you're holding hammer here in your hand, but beating on your head.
Ma'am, can you share that link in the group?
Yeah, I will do that.
Okay.
So, when we hear this, that you are holding, I am holding a hammer and I'm hitting on my head. It's either I would laugh it off, or if I see somebody doing that, I'll be like, they have lost their mental balance. And yet, is this not what we are doing? Even random people, say, for example, if I step out in my front yard and my neighbor is there and he's like, hey, don't step on my side, for example. It didn't happen, just saying. So I take it on me, right? That, oh my God, why was he rude to me? What did I do? It's just a garden. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with me? So everything is personal, right? And he is just an limited person who feels maybe that, this is my space and nobody should step in it. I go into a bus and the bus driver is rude to me, for example. And I take it on me that I must have done something wrong. Why are people rude to me? What do I do? Why is the world bad? Nothing related. He had a fight with his wife, for example. And numerous examples we can give, right? That random strangers, when they were rude or something, it hurt us. Am I really that stupid? For that person who shouted, say at me that don't step on my front lawn, I don't exist. His lawn is what he's protecting, right? If I am standing there and saying, oh, he said this to me, then who's stupid? And if I have limited energy, like we keep saying, and we do have limited time, limited energy. So rather than using that energy that, oh my God, he said this to me, oh my God, I was just shouted at, I can use the same energy maybe to pray for his expansion, right? And it works, right? Those subtle things, they work. So where am I using my day, my energy, my what I'm receiving? Where am I taking it? Why am me? If everything is about just me, मुझे बोला, कैसे बोला, क्यों बोला, quite wasted my life would be, right? So I think it's a very good visual to have the next time I feel some pain, some suffering, anything, that I am the one hitting me with my hammer. And that's what a lot of teachings are pointed at, right? Like when mother says there's no, outer circumstances don't matter. She keeps saying that look at yourself. If you see any mistake, you look within, correct it. So this, the universe, this our teaching have been telling us again and again that you only can work on yourself, right? If you want to do something, you be one poison, drop of poison less. Everything is telling me to look at me, and yet I'm outside looking at what will he say, what will she say, why did she look at me, will they approve of me? I'm just driving this car. What image does this give? This job, what image does that give? So very interesting how we are wasting, again, how they say the precious human life. But maybe I don't see anything precious in it, but hopefully we'll see it. Yeah, just wanted to share something we read from yesterday in the circle. I don't think not think I know none of you were there. So if anybody would like to unmute and just read the one in the pink for us. If
Yes.
one, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, can you see it now? It's stable.
Yes. If sincerely wants to help others and the world, the best thing one can do is to be oneself, what one wants others to be, not only as an example, but because one becomes a center of radiating power. The very fact that it compels the rest of the world to transform itself. The mother.
Look at your voice today, na? Like if you're saying one sentence, like after every 3, 4 words, one word is kind of going missing. I don't know why. But yeah, that's fine. Just wanted to let you know about the connection. There's some issue. Yeah. So just reading it once again, that if one sincerely wants to help others and the world, the best thing one can do is to be oneself. So the catch is sincerely, right? If you honestly want to help others and the world, I might question that how can I help the world? So here is the answer from the mother, that the best thing one can do is to be oneself, what one wants others to be. So if somebody is rude to me, I feel bad. So I must do everything I can to stop being rude, to stop lashing out, to stop saying things which I don't really mean. Because when others are saying that to me, I know it doesn't feel good. So instead of lashing out to someone who is doing things which are not right, I can start doing more right things. So this is, a lesson that I can learn and be one drop of poison less. And what is she saying ahead? That not only as an example, that of course, not only will you be a great example if you are becoming how you would want the world to be, but because one becomes a center of radiating power, which by the very fact that it exists compels the rest of the world to transform itself. Imagine. So she's saying that I can become that radiating power, and by just being there, by being that person who can be, say, that kindness or that compassion, a little bit even, if I'm able to transcend and be more, the world will get affected by that radiance. And we are not talking about big things, right? Small things, if we are able to make those corrections in us, become better, politer, more grounded, less reactive, I will become the center of their radiating power. And the fact, because I just exist, the world will be more compassionate because of me. It sounds like, no, what does this mean? And yet we know when we are in company of certain people, when we see somebody who's more grounded, more peaceful, we feel that, right? There's an aura around them which says that, yes, this is a possibility. So it's beautiful. Yeah, it's contagious, right, Snehi? So, Snehi, to answer your question, how do I have to look at the world, right? Again, it comes from here that I look at them holistically, right? Somebody's successful, so what? Somebody's unsuccessful, so what? Success does not mean this that I think it means, right? We don't know where the person is, we don't know what their lives are, we don't know what their progress is. So if I start holding myself in that lightness, if I don't judge, I will not feel judged. If I am not giving importance to titles, honestly, to others, I would not, this thought even would not come to me that the others will look at my title. So the world is how I see it. So if I change my view, if I'm looking at everyone with a smile, with happiness, with yes, we are all, yes, Jagan, absolutely. If we are all more open, more loving, more accepting of who we are, of who I am. Because I think this whole business, of what we are talking about, if am I grounded with it myself, my self-worth, is because I am not standing by my own side. I think I am, but like say, if I say this, be your own best friend. So, Meera, say if you were my best friend, for example, and if somebody says something which means nothing, it's bullshit, for example, and if they said say it to you, right? You will get affected immediately. You'll be like, oh my God, you know what that person said? And you will feel something. But if I am sitting by your side, 99.9%, I would say, oh my God, don't listen to them. They don't know anything. You're good. You're doing the best you can, right? And you would do the same for me. I might get affected, but you would have no doubt that don't waste your energy on that. So, this is the best friend we have to be to ourselves, that I am standing by my side. That if somebody is saying something to me, if there is any truth to it, I will receive it. I'm not saying that just have, your guards up and you would say, okay, no, nothing, I am invincible and I am untouchable and I am perfect. That that Kabir ji's doha, that sadhu aisa chahiye jaise soup sudha, I don't know the words, that thotha thota. So as in the things that don't matter, don't go on how it was said, the way it was said, the body language. Within that we miss what was said, right? So I focus on what was said. If something needs to be improved, I can improve it. I can at least aspire to improve it. And I let go of the dramas that I involve myself and others with. So, like a best friend who's always by your side, who tells you if things are wrong, that would be a true friend, right? Not a fake friend who wants you to progress, who wants to progress. So, that is the best friend we have to become, who's standing, who's guiding, who's not just appreciating or criticizing, who's honest, who sees things and tells us, yes, this is something you have to work on and forget about the rest. Don't go on the superfluous thing. Yeah, anything? I've been just talking and talking. So we are almost at the end of the session. There were a few quotes I had read last time. I have them up. Maybe we can go through some of them. They were just simple things, but maybe just to something might get affected. So if we want to read that. So this one is from Swami Vivekananda, and he's saying that the history of the world is the history of a few men who had faith in themselves. That faith calls out the divinity within, right? So this is very in line with the best friend thing that we were saying. The best friend has faith in you, right? She knows you more than you know yourself. That's why she does not get hassled or ungrounded if something is thrown your way. She says, no way, disregard. The history of the world is the history of a few men who had faith in themselves. That faith calls out the divinity within. Yeah, I think it's a bit, I don't know why it's not clear. I'll just read it. So it says, again, I think it's from Swami Vivekananda. Have faith in yourself. You people were once the Vedic rishis. Only you have come in different forms. That's all. I see it clearly as daylight that you all have infinite power in you. Rouse that up. Arise, arise. Apply yourself, heart and soul, gird up your loins. This thing that you were once these Vedic rishis, and now you're just come in different forms. He can see it clearly, but we need to realize it. This reminded me of again, how we speak about the Hanuman story that he had to be told, right? That he has the power, and then he could fly to Lanka. And we are all just waiting to realize the power that we have, and we don't know that we have. Yeah, this is the last one. So here it says that believing others is easy, and that's what we are doing our whole life, believing or confronting them or denying something. But believing in yourself, that's the real challenge. And this is why I would believe in my best friend more, maybe, than I even believe in myself. Because if something was thrown at me, oh, you are not good enough. I wanted to do a small exercise, but we'll do it next time just to bring this forward, just between ourselves to practice. Because when I'm being accused, when I have been commented, something is thrown at me, there's something in me which catches it. I might deny it on the surface, right? If somebody says, oh, you're a slacker, you do this, and I might say, no, 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 what are you saying? But that seed of doubt is there. I'm always ready to especially towards criticism, I'm very open to. I'm open to being hurt a lot, of getting into the dramas of lot. I'm not grounded. I'm not like that. No, I'm okay. But with my best friend, because I see her, I know her, I see him, I see her, I know the place where they are operating from. I know they are trying. I know they are honest. I'll be more, I'll have more confidence in them most a lot than I would have in myself. And that shows something, right? And Meera, the thing that you had shared also about the best friend, that also comes here. Would you like to just in briefly share it with Snehi as well?
Yeah, sure. So, it's a small exercise. It's a two-part exercise. So the first part of the exercise is basically to jot down who in your life do you consider as your best friend, and the person becomes your best friend because they hold space for you, they accept you as you are, and they don't judge you. And when you once you know who your best friends are, it could be a parent, a mentor, your friend, a teacher, anybody. You list down the qualities that they have which you really like or which resonates with you, which makes them your best friend. So once that is through and you have a list of qualities, you know that these are the qualities that you want your best friend to have, the other person. Then you sit back and reflect upon how many of these qualities you actually have in yourself, or how many of these qualities will you do justice when you are dealing with a problem for yourself. And when I did it, at least I found that if I had written like 10 qualities about a best friend of mine, I would have like hardly two or three to say about myself. So that was a very revelatory exercise, and it goes a lot with what Taru was saying about how when you these are the challenges you face when you want to be your best friend, because there are certain qualities that don't exist in you but very latent, or it's somewhere hidden, and you expect it to come from the outside, but actually it is already there on the inside.
Yeah. Thank you. And just to add to that here, but if I, as a friend, if I were told to write your qualities, my list would be much bigger than yours, right? For you. So being open to that as well, that there's so much we don't see. Yeah, any last comment before we end today's session? There is a Doha by Kabirji, very famous. We have heard it so many times, said it, shared it so many times. It's the one that says that, चाह गई चिंता मिटी, मनवा बेपरवाह, जिसको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, कछु नहीं चाहिए, वो शाहन के शाह. But because I want a lot of things from outside, respect, assurance, approvals, smiles. That's why I'm sitting today like a slave with a beggar in my hand, with a begging bowl, begging from other beggars to give me something so that I can have something positive about myself, so that I can be assured that I'm a good person, I'm doing good, I have achieved something. So for next week, if we are planning to join or not, that doesn't matter. But let's reflect on this Doha a bit more closely. That how can someone who doesn't want anything or maybe doesn't even have anything that I give value to, the materialistic things like we were discussing about Sri Aurobindo once, right? That how so many people who visited him during the darshan said he appears to be the king of kings, sitting there in his dhoti, bare chested, right? So let's take out some time, if possible, during this week and reflect on this, that how does it work? Because it's beyond logic. The mind doesn't agree. So there's something has to be beyond, something about success, something about being more than I'm seeing in my everyday. Yeah. तो जिनको कुछ नहीं चाहिए वो शाहन के शाह. So we'll reflect on that. So we'll end the session here, praying and aspiring for more groundedness for myself and everyone. If we were all, firmly grounded, how beautiful it would be. No commenting, no judgments, no gossip. Everybody doing what they love to do. Expanding others and our own self. Now that sounds like a beautiful world. And what can I do to make that happen? Is to make that happen in me. So if I feel this visual is beautiful, this aspiration is beautiful, I have to start and end with me. The rest will be taken care of. So ending with this aspiration, this prayer of being more rooted, fully rooted, that nothing can uproot me. Thank you.
Thank you.